So check 1, 2. So honestly, I'm gonna sit like this. I'm gonna hold my son's teddy bear. Meet Wolfie. Osito. Spidey. And Mantita. Mantita. The 4 that must be included in every nighttime routine. Yes. I'm staying at my sister's house. And she's got 3 little ones. This is Megan. Hello. So I have 3 siblings. Hope to bring them all on here. Megan, I'm staying with this week, and I grew up actually sharing a room with you. Yes. So much like my boys, we always hung out, and
we always hung out. Groundbreaking. We were sisters and we hung out.
Okay, but I'm just going to ask you questions about what it was like to hang out with me. Well, you can go back and forth.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, so, all right, so how do you, what, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do I look here? Do I look weird if I'm looking at you?
No, let's do both.
Okay.
Because I'll look at you and then we'll look at the camera.
Okay, sounds good.
Because when Mom and Dad did this, I don't know if you remember, but Dad was like, the whole time. And it worked because I love it and it's Dad. But okay. Do you remember the moment either Mom and Dad told you or you found out that your little sister was missing a leg?
Yes. So, yes, my people. So, Dad came home from the hospital. Sorry, I'm super ADD at the moment. I remember all the details. I happened to have strep throat and was home from school for the week. My grandma was watching us. Well, I think we had like a snowstorm in March or something. Anyway, whatever. That's what my brain... I was at home for multiple days in a row and I shouldn't have been. And I wasn't allowed to go to the hospital because I was sick. So Dad came home and he was like, oh, your mom had a baby. It's a girl. And then he's like, but there's been a problem. And so like immediately I was like... oh no, what's wrong with her? And then he said that she didn't have a leg and that my dad actually had all of us come over to the couch, I think, and we prayed for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So we prayed for you. We thanked God that she was healthy and prayed that God would, glorify. I don't even remember. I just remember he brought us over to the couch. We all prayed for you, and then, we went on our ways. I was 6. I think I was 6. So
yeah, I was gonna say because we get asked if we're twins, honestly, but there's 7 years between us.
Yeah.
So you were probably almost 7 if you weren't 7 at that point.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what is one of the? So yeah, what was your reaction when I came home?
Honestly, it was normal. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I was 2 when Matt was born, so this is the first time I'm remembering a baby being in the house, and it was just a baby that had a little leg and a big leg,
Yeah.
And but it was just normal, and I remember you used to fall asleep sitting in your leg when you got your leg. So we would find Amy sleeping this, just literally sleeping against the couch. And she looked like she was sleeping standing up. She was sitting in her leg socket.
Yeah. I remember that. I did that all the time.
And then I remember we would crawl on the floor with you. You scooted. You were a scooter. And so we would just scoot all over the floor with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we never associated you with being handicapped or treating you any differently than we treated everybody.
Oh, I know. It's funny because I have 3 siblings and Megan is probably the one that you immediately associate with being the sweetest. We would all say that. Oh, shut up. But so, people that meet, Megan never meets a stranger. And so it's always oh. But she's also been the one to probably give me the most pointed advice. Very
Sometimes you just
helpful.
need to say what you need to say.
Megan is very sweet until she reaches her point, and then she tells it exactly like it is. And Mama don't mince words.
Well, I mean, at most, in my defense, I would say, I mean, yes, I will say that to you guys, but also, like, I'll go to bat. Like, if there's somebody that's like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah. Oh, we know. Okay, so
moving along.
okay, so do you remember the time that we were at the beach in high school and I was throwing a pity party? I don't know if you remember this, but I wanted Dad to be there to get me in the ocean, and you gave me a talking to. I was in high school.
I was going to say, which time?
Okay, you don't need to.
I felt like every time, once you hit like high school, I feel like every time we went to the beach, you needed like a pep talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were like, oh, I don't want to be here. Like, you know, if you know Amy, she's.
Choose your words carefully.
Amy is like, she's not a Debbie Downer. That's not what I'm meaning. But like when she's in the situation.
No, it's true. It's true.
I am like a look at the bright side in all situations kind of a person. And she's a realist. So like.
Enneagram 7, Enneagram 6.
You know.
Yes. So if I didn't want to be there at the beach, or I felt bad for myself, people like probably see my Instagram and they're like, "Oh, like you're just so like naturally motivated." I'm actually not. I have to like work quite a bit to get myself out of a funk and not to pity myself. And a lot of that I attribute that to you guys.
Right. Let's just say competition season. We're, you know, we're working hard on her.
Straight away, if y'all, yeah. When I get on and talk about like the CrossFit Games about my good attitude, it's because I have lost my ish.
And me,
With
my
her
older
and Karen,
sister,
yeah.
we will like, you know,
Literally,
when she's
like,
back in her hotel
reel
room,
me
we're like
back.
FaceTiming and just trying to like
Bigger picture, bigger picture. It's true.
But
Yeah, you would pep talk me at the beach a lot.
yes, and I think like I mean that's I think I associate both of those in like it's a very different arena, but you did not want to be stared at. You hated to be in public, and the peak of that I think was high school and like college. Really, like I was like the last year of college. I think that you finally started to come out of that, like being self-conscious anytime you appeared without your leg or with your leg showing.
Yeah.
So, were you like, was it the time that you were like, I hate the beach, it's hot, and I'm like, well, just go get in the water. Like, of course, you're sitting sweating in sand, like, it's nice in the ocean.
Yeah.
I will hold your hand, we'll hop down to the water and get it.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a particular time. It might have been that time.
Okay.
Remember we went to Maryland? We always went to Myrtle Beach, but this time we went to Maryland. And Ginger, our dog, Ginger was on her deathbed.
Gosh, I forgot.
Or so we thought. She lived a while after that.
Yeah.
But I think Dad went home to go help her.
Yes.
And
Okay.
for some reason, I didn't always do this, but that trip, I was like, I can't get in the water without Dad helping me. Because he would always like crack jokes, and my dad and my brother liked the humor of the situation. So I just didn't want to get in the water without him. And you were like, I remember you saying, Amy, why are you giving strangers on the beach that much power?
Yes. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you were like, you can sit here and feel sorry for yourself, but I'm going to get in the water and it's only going to ruin your day if you don't do it. But I needed that.
Yeah.
And I've even, like, Mom admits that they were always really encouraging and challenged me, but they would have coddled me a lot more if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know,
You gotta suck it up sometime, you know what I'm saying?
well, that is like, I mean, there's a certain place like where you can't do something just because like physically, like, you know, you couldn't get your leg wet at that point because of the kind of leg that you had. But that didn't mean that you couldn't enjoy the beach.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we all loved going to the beach and you were like missing out on all the fun. And it was because I think that's what like the biggest thing was like, I'm seeing you being miserable and it's your own fault. It's
Yeah, true. It was very true.
so
Yeah. So we also, so again, 4 siblings, we're all very close. But you and I shared a room until literally you went to college.
Yeah, I think,
So like,
yeah.
yeah, by the time, I think I had like 2 years of having my own room. So by the time I got to college, they were like roommates. I was like, easy stuff.
Yeah.
But do you remember anything specifically about like living? Oh, remember when I remember if I'd have a bad dream, I'd try to wake up mom and dad and you'd hear me boinging through the hallway.
You could always hear her hopping, hop, hop. Like, she did it. It was like this.
And the best part was we had a staircase between my brother's room and the bathroom and mine room, and you guys would stay up late and like congregate in the bathroom, and if I wanted to join and I didn't want mom and dad to know because they were downstairs, you could literally you could hear the boinging and I would get faster past the staircase thinking that they couldn't see it. So you hear this boing, 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 boing. Of course, mom and dad knew. They're like, Amy's up. So good.
Now that I'm a parent, I just realized if they didn't come upstairs, it's because they were trying to pretend it wasn't happening.
Yeah, for real.
Nobody's arguing. We're just going to let it go.
Yeah, for real. All right, so would you have any... hopefully that's not in the video, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, just it will be, so just give it a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, we live by a
No, you're good.
fire station.
I guess the biggest... Well, one, what advice would you give to someone who has a sibling with maybe physical adaptation or something? They're older or younger, and they don't really know how to handle it. What advice would you give to their siblings?
The sibling doesn't know how to handle it, or they're my person not knowing how to handle the situation, or I am the sibling and you don't know how to handle the situation.
Well, I guess what advice would you give? Okay, so say they have some kind of adaptation, you're the sibling, and you feel like the person with the adaptation isn't handling it well. What advice would you give? What do you feel your role is as the sibling?
Okay, so I would say, like, be loving and supportive, but that doesn't necessarily mean giving into their... I'm not trying to be, like, uncompassionate. Like, there's times that you need to be compassionate and sit with them and their emotions, and there's times to...
Shake them out of it.
Yeah, and call a tantrum, and... Like, just be tough love when it needs to be there, but like, this is the other thing that like my husband and I have talked about so many times. This goes across whether you're an amputee or have a disability or you're just going through a tough thing in life. You can't speak tough love to somebody if you don't have enough like coins in the emotional bank. Like you and I were very close and we had a good relationship. So when I have to, we are. Yeah. If I have to tell you something tough, I'm not a distant sibling that never talks to you and then I just like ream you out. When like we have a good relationship and I have enough emotional chips in the bank that if I need to tell you something that's hard, it comes across as tough love because there's a lot of love in the bank already. Yeah. Versus I'm not making it's like almost like you're making a withdrawal
from deposits you've put in.
Yes, exactly.
And coming from my side too, because I like the person, even if you give them that, the person still might react poorly in the moment, and it doesn't mean you did the wrong thing, because I was a brat still. Like you can say it. there are times that you've told me that, and I literally like maybe fixed it in that moment, but more often than not, I didn't respond well, and I pouted more, and I was like, I know that you're right, but I'm not ready to accept it. Yeah. And then after I had time to reflect and come back, I was very grateful that you did that. I mean, I still remember you saying that to me at the beach, and I was furious with you at the time. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be told that their pity party is not deserved.
It's true. It's true, but you would do that with siblings without adaptations.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't treat Amy differently than I treat either like any of my siblings. Like
I treat them the same. And I think that's like, we grew up that way. We didn't treat you like you were disabled.
Yeah.
We treated you like our sister.
Yeah, that's very true. Is there any other advice that you would want to give?
I would say, like, I think probably the most sensitive, like, I noticed this yesterday, which is like, it's just been a long time since we've been out in public together. Like, I noticed people staring at you, like, walking in and out of the restaurants. And, like, I grew up with that. Like, just people stare.
Yeah.
But, like, gosh. Well, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Bring the
Your
train back.
advice.
I'm sorely sleep deprived.
Mom of 3 young children, and she's doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
They have energy. I'm on my day 3, and I feel like I need to go sleep for a week.
We're gonna go drink some coffee after this.
Yeah.
I was out in public and I was like noticing people like just, you know, like stare at you, which I mean, we grew up with that all the time, but we never made it a big deal. But like, I guess like stuff like that, just, like, I don't even know like how to, like, I think being out in public, and does it help you if, I guess, if you acknowledge that that's happening, or if you just ignore it and just like make you feel, do you want to feel normal, or do you want to be like, excuse me, sir, why are you staring at her leg?
I prefer to feel normal. Like you guys never drew attention to it.
Yeah.
I think where there's the line of like, if I don't have this so much anymore, but if I would be like, this isn't fair, people are staring, don't pretend like that's not happening. It's
Yes.
like, yeah. We
Acknowledge
see it.
it that it's happening. And I would be the kind of sibling that if it's obnoxious, I would be like, excuse me, do you have a problem?
Yeah, she would. Yeah, and really any of you would, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would. Yeah, I think like there's a line, like, I mean, I know you guys would like advocate for me in a heartbeat if I needed, but more often than not, just letting me feel normal, not drawing attention to it, because it's almost like the more, like when you talk about mindset, the positive and negative are always there. It's the purpose of a mindset is what you're choosing to focus on. So in some ways, it's like people want to get over something, like not over it, but they want to work through having an adaptation. So it's always a conversation. And there's been things in my life that I've like struggled with and needed to work through. And it was like, I just need to stop talking about it. And it's not about avoidance. It's not about like burying it, but it's like, stop making that the focal point of your life. Just like live your life.
Yeah.
And let the rest naturally happen.
Yeah. It's not like you don't bury the fact that it's there.
Yeah.
Like you don't pretend that those emotions don't happen, but you also don't let that be like a stumbling block that keeps you from living.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anything else? Yeah, people say that way. We do kind of look similar. Wow.
I know. You know, I heard my voicemail the
years
other
younger.
day.
Voicemail?
My husband told my children that if they didn't listen to me, they were going to make me look like an old lady.
Yeah, we do sound similar. She yelled at her kids the other day, all in love, and then had to go pick something up, and I was watching the kids, and then I raised my voice at the kids, and I literally was like, I sound just like Megan. I mean, like, verbatim. If you recorded it, I don't know if people would have been able to tell the difference.
I heard my voicemail just the other day, and I was like, that sounds just like Amy. Because Amy was talking. I was hearing my voicemail because I lost my phone. She called it, and so my voicemail was going off in her phone, and she was talking to my kids at the same time. I was like, it's the same voice, same person.
Well, we both would sing too growing up, and that was, we got
Caleb
that a lot,
already.
too.
He's like, why are you guys singing together? I'm like, well, because
Always.
sisters. No, we're not going to sing for you.
Well, this has been fun.
Yes.
Thanks. We'll pull Matt and Karen in hopefully on Saturday.
Perfect.